go. Let's get it underway. Let's just
You need some intro music.
We lost to the Mags 3-0 in the FA Cup.
It's at the Mackem. It's at the Mackem.
I'll sort it out or something. I don't know. Let's get the was it eat the frog, the proverbial phrase? I don't know. You got to get the
Fredo.
Yeah, you got to just get the crap out of the way early doors. We lost 3-0 to the Mags. That's going to be a big discussion in this podcast. But first and foremost, let's do the introductions. Left to right, we've got David the Doofus.
Hello.
Myself, Anthony Mackem. Paul Wilson.
Hello.
The one and only Westy.
Hello.
Hello. And Jacob, Yorkshire Mackem.
Good evening, FTM, as usual.
Oh, right. I think we should lead it from the guys who were actually at the game. So both Paul and Westy were at the game. Slightly different experiences. Westy was getting some some nice bevies in the corpse, and Paul in the southwest stand. So we'll go with the corporate side, because I think you said there's some good news or some entertaining news from that side. So,
well, I mean, I won't say entertainment. Like, well, I got there, it was fairly packed. Probably the busiest I've seen it. I've done it a couple of times. Pickford was right behind us on my table. He was getting swamped. So I didn't bother going up to him. Barini was in and around there as well, but they pushed him downstairs to what I saw later on. He was sort of introducing himself to the players as they were coming in. So the mood and it was quite jovial. Bob Moncur was there. If you know Bob Moncur is, he played for the Mags for a fair amount of time, and he did a bit of stint at Sunderland. So he was like the media, if you like, for both sides. There was Mags in the corporate, which is always it's always going to be like that, you know what I mean? Because it's where the money's at, boxes, mail, stuff like that. So they were in and around there. There was one on my table. To be fair, he didn't say much. Obviously, he wasn't going to kick off or anything. But I think once the drinks started flowing later on in the match, people started gobbing off and kicking off. Nothing tremendous, you know what I mean? Nothing to write home about, but. What I'd say is, from my point of view, like the crowd, obviously the atmosphere was electric at the start, and I've got one or two like bugbears talking about crowd, and I'll just get out of the way first. So we conceded half time. Obviously, then 1-2, then 3 went in. Now, when the third went in, people started disappearing. Not a lot, but a few. And there was still a big crowd there at the end, if you notice. My argument of that is, or what I'm not happy about, is if you rewind 2 or 3 weeks earlier, the Coventry game, when that third goal went in, the fucking whole ground emptied.
Oh yeah.
Now, and there was still 20-25 minutes of football left. So I get it. We love the club, we support the club, but what I want to see is the fans just fucking sit. I get it. Sometimes just got to be shit, but. Once you get one goal and there's a lot of people there, things can turn. So, and I'll give you one example before we move on to Paul.
Yeah.
I live in Hetton, Evelyn, CW, where the 21s play.
Right, okay, yeah.
Me and Luke went down to watch fucking West Brom, Sunderland 21s at half time, and the weather was shit. It was 3-0 and we had a man sent off. Right, I was like, this is fucking shit. I'm leaving. we stayed, right, and we fucking drew 3-3.
Yeah.
10 men, and it was fucking mint. So, like, what all I say at the fans is, look, I get it. Sometimes it's fucking mega shit, but just try and stay and keep, because that packed out crowd we saw at the weekend, we don't see it often enough. So that's just my point.
I mean, I get where you're coming from with that, mate, but I think with good football, you get a lot more fans watching it. So it is a level we need to get back to, because when I started watching this team, we were week in, week out, just quality. The stadium was packed. You struggled for.
Ever since we've been relegated from the Prem, innit? Because of our downfall.
Not really. It's probably a couple of years beforehand. I'd say it's probably since the Gus Poyet era. You could find seats. Week in, week out. Before that, I always struggled. So, it's. I think it's it's a nice to have, but I'd rather have everybody there that's passionate. We could have 10,000 empty seats, and as long as everybody there actually supports the club, then the other way around.
We'll get back to that, when it's proper packed. Our usual league games for Sunderland, but it's probably only going to happen when we're back in Prem, innit? It's not going to happen in Championship.
Oh, well, to be fair, the last time we went up with Keane, it was packed every single week because we were playing good football. So it's just like we like to watch our team perform well, and we're a bit, at the minute, if we're being brutal, a bit like hit and miss. If we were consistently
I get it, but you've got to take the rough with the smooth, like, as a fan. And I'll take you back 2 years when I was sat watching fucking Sunderland play Mansfield Town and Flanagan was in defence. We got beat 1-0 and it was grim. You know what I mean? But you've got to, you can't have an empty stadium. People have got to watch the shit, and get the good stuff as well, So I'd like to see more there, obviously.
Yeah.
But people just stay there, and I fucking can't stand people leaving. It really winds me up. You know what I mean? What to say? Do you know what? I got home an extra half hour early. Look, isn't that amazing? I don't know.
I mean, if you're making the effort to go to the game, you should watch the whole game. That's my opinion on it. But I get why some people leave. If the team's not putting the effort in, why should you as a fan put in the effort? So yeah, I get where you're coming from, which is why I think a lot of our fans stuck around for the 90 in this game as well. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more after Paul tells us how he experienced the game.
Well, before kick-off, actually, me and Boris actually went to the ground a bit early, because of course the turnstiles was open early. But before we went inside, we actually went, where the players come in.
Yeah. The side tunnel, or do you mean like the big where the big crest is?
No, like before the game, the players come in.
Yeah.
To get autographs and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we went round there because there was a lot of Sunderland fans actually around there, and we were like, "Oh, what's happening here?" Our team coach came in because the players decided not to come in the cars just in case they're in trouble. Our crowd actually gave our players a massive cheer as soon as they got off that team coach to actually go on the ground. Newcastle's team coach arrived with a big, massive boos that I've never heard of before.
It was very
it was that loud.
It sounds pantomime to me, mate. But yeah.
Like I said before we started, there was a little bit of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I thought it was Newcastle fans behind us, but it wasn't. I think it was about 2 Sunderland fans behind. They were fighting. It was actually my corner that actually had to get the police to actually come up to actually sort it out. They came up. They actually threw the actually lad out at half time. He didn't come back.
So you're saying fans were fighting with themselves?
Yeah, they were.
Oh, weird.
Often.
I was actually shouting at Michael Beale because I was actually not happy when he only brought one change on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was at the 85th minute as well, something like that.
It was later on. It was 80 or die.
It was yeah. Well, I'll talk about the whole game management and the overflow of the game, right? So I thought we played all right. We played solid up until was it Hume that made the weird tackle, or was it 09 against Bruno? He bombs past and gets a clear pass into the box, like one of the best potential opportunities for a cross you'll ever see, and it was going in the back of the net regardless. So Ballard tries to hook it clear, and it goes off his knee, and it goes for 1-0. That's about 35 minutes in. That kind of showed you where the momentum was going to go for the rest of the game. Hello, Cabby, welcome.
Hello.
We then, I don't think we played poorly up until the end of the half. We realised what kind of moment it was. We weren't attacking that often. I think we had like one shot and it wasn't anywhere near going on target either in that entire first half. So they were rightly in front. The way they scored the goal felt a little bit fortunate, though. It felt lucky, and we could have, if we kicked in that second half, potentially clawed something back into the game. But the way we started that second half, it's like Beale did nothing at halftime to actually amp up the players. Maybe he said, play it out from the back, play calm, composed, and Ekwa thought he had way too much time on the ball, gets it snatched off him, and it's an absolute tap in for Isaac. Square ball if you're playing EA FIFA or whatever you call it. It's a sweaty goal. Anyway you look at it. And that is less than 40 seconds into the half, and you're just like, okay, the game's theirs now. How do we as a team get something from it? And the only way we actually kind of had any potential hope in that game, in my humble opinion, is from Pritchard. Pritchard had the best shots, the best chances, the best play ball through to Clark. He had shots from about 25, 30 yards out and hit the crossbar once. I keep forgetting their keeper's name. Dubrovka. Thank you.
Martin Dubrovka.
Yeah, I think he had that one effort from Pritchard to save all game. So we can't really say like creatively up front we did enough to do enough to get something from it. And then finally, I think we actually just let the third goal in because Ballard was just pissed off. We wouldn't concede that goal in a normal day. I think it was just let's just seal the deal. Let's just, I don't know, like hurt the player, I guess. He was frustrated, fells him in the box, definite penalty, and it's a tap in for Isaac from the spot. 3-0.
If you look at the bench, like, I know we only made one sub, I'll go through the bench. So it was Bishop, Pembele, Samiro, Burstow, Bar, O'Shea, Selt, Trianus and Ray. Now that, you don't turn around and look at that bench again. You know what? These can these can change the game because half of them are Burns. In fact, the majority of them are Burns, Bar O'Shea's. So he was really limited in what we could do in that respect. I'd say we missed Roberts massively. He was a massive miss because he's an outlet, but our outlet, the only outlet we had was Clark. And he was fucking tied up the whole game. And Trippier, to be fair to Trippier, I mean, he's England international, and he had him in his back pocket the whole game. And I'd say on the opposite side, Hume was fucking. Gordon had Hume's pants down the whole game as well. You could see that the experience and the level was too much to cope with. A lot of people went missing. It wasn't just about that. I think some of them were fucking totally starstruck. And you could see that. But as far as game managing goes, on Bale's part, I think he was very limited to what he could do, if you know what I mean.
I mean, yes, he was limited in what he could do, mate, but also he didn't do anything. He put his starting 11 out and left it for 85 minutes. For me, that's not game management. That's just like...
Well, I guess.
Do you know when Southgate like just threw a team out against Iceland and said, "Go, just have fun"? That's exactly what I think it felt like to me, and anyways, from Bale's perspective of our team. We weren't expected to get anything from the game, but at least when we go a goal behind at half time, change the formation up, try something new.
I'll tell you the killer in the game was Ekwa. After fucking that killed the game. Now, it was 1-0. When people are going into half time, the messages when coming out is don't fucking concede at 10 to 15 minutes. That's at any level.
Yep.
Keep it tight. Don't concede. 40 seconds in, and he does that. The game's over. Do you know what I mean? That killed it off. I don't want to slag Ekwa off too much. Some people don't like him. Like, obviously fucking Davy Lonsdale doesn't like him. I get that. But I think he plays well in part. He's a good passer of the ball. But that mistake killed us.
Yeah, well, speaking of Davy Lonsdale, Davy's in the chat. You've got Andy in the chat, Crouchy in the chat, Acacia, and Jim. So we've got everybody popping in the chat, giving their opinions, and one of the consistent ones from Andy, from Jim, and I think Acacia as well earlier on is saying for me, it was Hume. He just didn't have a good game, poor game. Although the other players were under par as well. If one player is underperforming, does that have a knock-on effect with everybody around them, though, or is it just part and parcel of the way we play the game?
you set the tone. Like for me, I'm a great believer in the game is won and lost in the middle of the park. Right, looking at the middle of the park. Yeah, I thought Daniel did okay in spells, but Ekwa didn't cover himself in fucking glory, like I've just said. Pritchard, I think Pritchard got more into the game. I know he's playing sort of terrible, but he got more into the game when Joe Linton went off, because I thought Joe Linton was their best player. And with fucking Job, he was invisible for 90 minutes. And, he just wasn't there. Their midfield, like Linton, fucking, what's the other one? Gamara's, Longstaff. Fucking mate, they bossed that middle, and we couldn't get out. We just couldn't. We couldn't get a grip. We haven't got a big man up top to hold the ball up. So if you can't get out midfield and you can't get out up top, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. So let's try and remove it from the negative side of it from Sunderland, and just I think quickly go through the rest of everybody's opinions. Who was the standout player for Sunderland? Who seemed to put their heart on the sleeve, or who put in the best effort? I'll go backwards. So we'll go Jacob, Westy, Paul, David, and then Cabby. So who you saying was our standout player, Jacob?
I'll probably go with standout as in good.
As in, yeah. Who do you think actually did a decent job? Obviously, we lost, but
Pritchard probably.
Okay.
Probably go with Pritchard. Because it, like shots and that, he just had the best shots in the game.
Okay, I'll tally these up. We've got Andy saying Pritchard. I'm assuming that's Pritchard as well. Davey saying Luke O'Nien. Westy?
I've gone, look, I know I made 2 mistakes, but I've gone Ballard.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you mine in a second. Paul?
Yeah, well, mine's actually the same, Dan Ballard, because to be honest, without Ballard, that could have been more scores than that.
Yeah. Westy saying, I'll tell you, it wasn't Ekwa. Deeds going Pritchard. Acacia's been greedy here. I want to say whatever you said first, Luke O'Nien. There you go. I'm going to back Ballard as well. I know he conceded that goal and did the penalty, but again, I think last minute of the game didn't care. The game's already written off. You might as well put in a hefty tackle on somebody you don't like, and the first one was just unfortunate. So I'm backing Ballard as well. David?
Yeah, I'm going to go Ballard. Own goal, you can't really fault him for that, really. It's just unlucky. I think he defended really, really well most of the game. He had an unlucky few moments, but what can you do?
Yeah.
And I also love the fact that he absolutely plastered that Newcastle lad right at the end.
I can't remember which player. What was it? Isaac they took down.
I think it was Isaac. Hang on.
If you could double check, that'd be great.
Let me have a look. Yeah.
And Cabby, who are you saying?
I'm going for Ballard, because he was absolutely solid at the back. There was no getting past him. And it was just unfortunate. Even some of the Newcastle fans were saying he's a good enough Ballard, so I'm going to go with him.
I rate his potential with our club as well. If he sticks around with us, he could be one of those players that we could either sell him for loads of money, but I think he could, if he wants to stick around, he could go with wherever we go. But I think he's one of the few people that we keep in the Prem.
Oh no, it was Longneck.
Longstaff. Oh no, Gordon.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a joke on the watch along, by the way, just about how freakish Anthony Gordon's neck is. It's ridiculous. He's like a giraffe mixed with a gazelle. It's just weird.
Right, he's an ugly bastard. There's no getting away from that.
What, like Gordon,
His neck is offside. His neck is offside.
Westy, do you not think he looks like a rat? He looks like some
ugly
creature.
It looks a bit like Roland Rat, I don't think you just remember Roland Rat, but yeah.
Roland Rat. He just has one of those faces you want to smack, don't you? Just want to smash a glass bottle over his head.
Yeah, I think I'm very uniquely placed in. I was the bearer of a lot of stick from Geordies over the weekend, obviously because of the content creating stuff and the live watch along. But one of the comments that consistently came through from Newcastle fans was Luke O'Nine's best moment of the game is tackling like Miley, who's a kid, but. like the only tackle you can do is against a kid. I mean, our entire team, if you look at it, was under 21 on average on that game. So I find it really bizarre that they go, you can only beat kids, but then like our entire team's on average like 4 years younger than their squad combined. It's really, really a weird tangent. So on the back of that, is there anything that you think like from a Sunderland versus Newcastle banter side of it that stood out over the weekend for you? That for me was the cherry pick of it. Like, yeah.
I thought, look, I've been to a few derbies, but what I'd say is, I didn't think I've seen worse atmospheres. I've got to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like as far as like violence goes, and I get it was well policed, but like I thought it was pretty tame. If I've got to be honest, that's the way I saw it. I don't know what anyone else thought.
You didn't pick up on much of the side of it.
Well, look, we were loud. We were loud. I get that. Maybe when the fucking third goal went in, you could hear them a little bit more. But overall, they're chanting. It's the usual shit. Alan Johnson. What I'd say about the Alan Johnson chant is they need to update it because they say he's going down for nonsense. He's already been sentenced and served time. So
and he's out already. He's been out for like 4 years.
Out. So he's done time for nonsense. They need to change the lyric.
Well,
it's a joke that he got 6 years.
I mean,
he's a nonce.
He is a nonce. Yeah, you're right. But like, for me, it's.
But like,
we caught him though. We caught him. You got to remember, he was an England player and a Man City player and a Borough player at one point. Where don't they get the same shit?
And fun fact, he did start off at Newcastle for 2 years, so I don't know if you know that, but there you go. He was a boy player there.
He was a Newcastle fan. Growing up, he's a Geordie boy. So
he learned his trade at fucking on the time, then, didn't he?
yeah, exactly, Taffy. Bad Geordie bastards.
Yeah.
But like, nah. The cringe, like you say, the thing at the end they did with the picture was the main sort of like, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like some, I don't know, like they're gonna put it up in the fucking fan museum. You know, it's like every loads of teams play have derbies, but I've never seen anyone take a picture ever. You know what I mean? It's they can see all they want about that picture, and it's there forever. Blah blah blah. But it's I don't understand it. I thought it was fucking cringy, if you ask me. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, what's missing? I tell you what's missing off the picture: fucking silverware, mate. So what I'll do is I'll just superimpose people who win the FA Cup next year. Every year you don't win it. You know what I mean? Because it's I don't know. It's just a moment, I guess, to buy Tyndall, and now they fucking love it. But if I was looking at another team, not just Sunderland, say a Villa, Birmingham, and fucking Villa did that, I'd say it was cringy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cabby sent us a photo of the Newcastle, that same Newcastle photo, but there were signs on the Newcastle place saying Jim will fix it for you, and there was a picture of Jimmy Savile behind the Newcastle team.
Cabby, what are you doing, mate?
He found it. I think another Sunderland fan created it, and Cabby sent it to me.
No,
and it was just...
I created it. I did the picture. It's my work. It's gone viral.
My dad said he saw that photo.
I had thousands of shares in it. I did it. I did it.
You got too much time on your hand, mate. So whilst you've piped up there, Cabby, what is the standout banter from the weekend? That photo.
Yeah.
You're still on mute. Cabby. Turn it off. Turn it on again. There you go. No? Okay, I'll move on to Paul then. Because that's so much dead air. Paul,
I'm back.
God, you're such an old man, mate. Like, come on.
Well, I sympathise. He had dramas with fucking comms last week. It took me fucking 20 minutes to work it out.
I just heard you cough in the background. I'm like, you can talk now. Go on. What's the standout banter from the weekend then?
There's just that many though, aren't there? I mean, from the usual gubbins of the supporters booing the teams and that, and did it turn down it? Sorry about that background noise there a second.
That's all right.
I don't know. I mean, the standout. Are you on about like what was on the pitch, what was off the pitch, or
just the banter side of it? Like obviously the photo, the
shithousery.
The shithousery. Yeah. What shithousery? Like what do you remember the most?
The two things. The shithousery was Gordon. You know, the lad that chews on bangers. The amount of rolling around on the floor he was doing, trying to play at, trying to get as many other cards as possible. Proper shithousery.
Guru did that as well, didn't he?
The black cat ball, we're going on about that. But all I've heard when I've been at work and talk sport and this and that and the other is they've all gone on about the photo. And all the main pundits, even the football players, the Stan Collymores and all that, they've all said it's sad, basically, what they're doing. It's like the £450 million squad of Newcastle United beating a team that's not long been up from Division 1, that's got a budget of 2 lollipops and a shoestring, and they're standing outside the away fans taking a photograph like they've won the Champions League. You know, they need to get a grip and they need to, you know, have a look at themselves, what they're doing. And this is coming from the main pundits. Simon Jordan actually said that. You know, they're not dissing the fact that it was a good win, but it's the fact to celebrate in front of the fans like that because you've multi-million-pound squad.
To be fair, mate, that is their first win in 10 games, so they've got to celebrate the big moments, right? Winning the Derby Day, the equivalent of the Champions League, Trindle equals John Terry times the power of 10. So you remember when John Terry didn't even play, puts on his kit and then goes and gets a photo? Yeah. It's exactly like that. But every single one of the players did it.
The only chance of silverware Newcastle have got, I think Taffy said it, is tinfoil. That's it. I'm sorry, but they're not going to win any trophies under this new ownership. Sorry.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, if you look at the big thing on TalkSport today was FFP. We were banging on about FFP and about how, you know, Newcastle fucking need to sell players to buy other ones. So, like that, I think they thought when the Saudis rolled in that was that. But I think I think the reality sort of setting in now is anything. It's gonna delay this process, if you like. You know, so I think that the reality slowly setting in, and you know, people talking about selling Gamera's to PSG. I think there's other talk about Longstaff going. So, you know, it's not going to be as quick as what Man City did it, or Chelsea, in fact. You know, under Abramovich. So I think, you know.
The thing is with Man City and Chelsea, they were the first to do it. So they just set the trend. They've bought the Ferrari first, haven't they? All Newcastle are doing is keeping up with another Ferrari. It's not like they're the only. They're not the top. They're trying to join the top. It's a bit ironic. And on the FFP side of it, yes, Jim says they were mourning about the FFP and having to sell maybe Guimaraes or Trippier or whoever. But they've wasted 60-odd million on Tonali, who can't play for another year and a bit because he's a gambling addict or something like that. They're just
spent a lot on him.
They're just throwing money at players and expecting it to stick. It's what we used to do. We threw money at, like, we just got to look at Will Grigg. Like, Will Grigg's going to save us. We'll throw a couple of million, and look what happened there. Like, you can't throw.
Well, even Ellis Short threw money at players as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Torrey Andrea Flo, remember we bought him and he was a fucking donkey.
I mean, I actually thought he was going to be half decent for us.
I think we paid 15 million for him off the top of my head.
He was he was one of our most expensive players, and he was coming to support Quinn and Phillips, right, as a third option.
That was a short days though,
Yeah, but it's not a unique situation to them. It's just like it takes them a long time to cotton on to the things that everybody else sees. So they'll not be the first to spend a lot of money. They'll not be the last, but just where they've got the money from, I think a lot of fans, not only Sunderland fans, but fans around the world are a bit like, oh, that's a bit weird. And the trophy thing, they can't just buy a trophy. If they could just buy a trophy, like what's the point? They've got to earn it on the pitch, and I don't think their current squad is ready for it. We were miles away from their quality on that game, but judging by how they reacted to beating us and how they cried so much about that penalty at PSG, they haven't got the maturity in the players. The players have talent, don't get me wrong, but they're not like the likes of Haaland, De Bruyne, half the Arsenal squad. Do you know what I mean? Like they're just kids enjoying football and having a lot of money. That's how I see it. Now, you just can differ with that if you really want to, but
I'm going to go on the flip side of that though for us. So like I'm sick of talking about them cunts. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Let's fucking put them in the bin. I'm sick of them.
Let's not.
What we can't do is like, it's the other end of the spectrum where Beekman thinks he's fucking Billy Bean off Moneyball, and he can fucking, you know what I mean, statistics but he's going younger with it. That sort of like stat model. He's going, well, actually, I'm going to get younger players on this stat model, and the big thing for the Sunderland team now and that game and going forward is experience.
Mm-hmm.
We've got no experience up top. We've got no experience in the middle of the fucking park, and we're lacking that. Yeah, Pritchard's there. Maybe he's 09 now, but an experienced dressing room, you've got at least 7 to 8 fucking late 20s, early 30s pros in that squad, teaching them how to fucking play. You know what I mean? Because it's Barnes learning off Barnes, especially in the middle of the park. Job's 18, who's learning off fucking Dan Neil, who's fucking, how old is he? 21, 22?
Yeah,
who's like learning off Ekwart, who's 21. Right, that's the midfield. You need someone in the centre of midfield who's fucking, like a Catamore, someone who's got a voice, like an Anderson or whatever, you know what I mean, to let them learn. And that's my problem with the model we've got is these lads are never going to learn, and we're going to keep flipping them for big money and getting younger lads in. So it's just like a perpetual wheel we'll never get off.
It's a conveyor belt. Well, on that point though, if you look at where we have our best experience on that pitch was Pritchard, Ballard on 09. Pritchard and Ballard were our two oldest players, so you're not wrong there. The people with the more experience have the level of heads. Yeah, they made some stupid mistakes during the game, but
and Pritchard had a good game, because he's been in situations like that before. He did have a good game when Lint went off. He had a bit of space and time on the ball. So yeah, experience is what we lack, and judging by the fucking the jungle drums, we're not fucking buying players. You know what I mean? We're not.
I'm losing faith in KLD spending money. Like we've got 10 million from the sale of Ross Stewart. If we had 10 million was all we had in this transfer window, basically we've earned it. Now sell it. Who are we getting in? Are we getting one player? Or are we getting 5 young kids again?
Mate, that money went on overheads. That money's gone. It's gone on overheads. Paying the fucking electricity bill, paying the cleaners. That's what that money's gone.
You're going to see more of the same this transfer window of weeks upon weeks of just a terrifying silence coming from the club. And then all of a sudden, Ivor, the engine from Ukraine, 17-year-old gets mentioned, who nobody's ever heard of. Is it just going to be eat, slave, rave, repeat? Is it just going to be the same?
Don't know.
That's what I'm expecting.
I think so, mate. I think so. Yeah.
No, that's what points wait for deadline to bring players in.
Because we're desperate at that point. I think
it's just a reality check.
Who do you? I know there's mention of Didier and Dong. Barini was at the game as well. Obviously, he still loves the club. If he hit the club, he wouldn't be back up there just to watch us. Who would you have in? Let's say we have an experienced ex-Sunderland head that is able to still play. Who are you looking at? Because we got
either a Yayan Veer or Henderson. I know Henderson might be deluded, but why?
Yeah,
he's a Sunderland lad, isn't he, Henderson?
Yeah, but there's too many rumours with the Saudi thing with Henderson. But so no, I don't think he's coming back here. We haven't got the money to afford his desires, shall we say? I genuinely don't know. Maybe it's bringing somebody like Defoe back as a coach, as a striker trainer. Maybe it's something like that because we need better precision and clinicalness up front. That is where we're struggling at the moment. We're relying on one man. And if that man gets sold for, I think the figure people are throwing around is like 20-25 million. I think we'd have to turn that down for Clark.
If a serious bid comes in, I think he'll go. I think he'll go, mate. The club will snap. How much do we pay for him?
Like 2 million, 2.5 million.
Is that one? That's a fucking no-brainer. That because
25% sell-on fee though as well. So
who's to say that next season he's form shit, different form, or he starts playing shit, we sell him for less. I think they'll wanna out. Do you know what I mean? Cash out. I think if a serious bid comes in, I think they'll sell him. You know, maybe not. They might not. I might be totally wrong about where they want to go, but I think if good money comes in, players are going to get shot of them.
Yeah, there's just too much like silence from us to know what they're actually thinking. We know what we want as a fan base. We know we need strikers that put the ball back of the net. We know we need replacements for Huggins and Roberts when he's injured. But we
don't forget the way when he comes on.
What's that, Cabby?
Sorry, Cabby, I was listening to you. I thought
No worries, mate. No worries. Paul?
Same with a replacement for Serkin as well now, because Serkin could be out for the season.
Yeah, but with Serkin, I think he's already got replacement options in there. But again, it's not a bad thing to like potentially recycle some of the players that are on the fringe and on the out. I
was looking to see what Bill was talking about. I think the likes of giving Juventus a try and Jensen Seals a try.
Or instead of Luke O'Neill. But then that completely contradicts what Westy's saying about having experienced heads on the pitch. We're getting rid of somebody who's 29, really passionate about the club, to put somebody who's 21 and very immature and inexperienced. Kind of defeats the point. If we're going to constantly play kids, the kids have got to be worldies, and that game proved it. So,
but if you look where we are, they are good players because we're six. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like having a top end under 21 side. You know that's what we're watching. But I'm like everyone. We want to progress, and I'm sick of hearing about this. We've got a 5-year plan. I've never seen a fucking 5-year plan. Have you?
No, it's not on paper.
No, it's just something that's fucking means put in the ether. Yes, we've got a 5-year plan. Right? If you've got a fucking 5-year plan, tell us what it is. So, and another thing, that's what he's did. Davison. I don't know where they've dragged him. Apparently, he's a Sunderland fan. He's been a Sunderland fan for the whole of his life. Yeah, but he looks like we've just fucking went to PC World and went, "Where's your shop floor manager? Can we just fucking have him and we'll put him as CEO from Sunderland?" Listen to him speak. He's deadpan. He comes across as like having no knowledge, and obviously with the last few weeks and the debacle of what's gone on behind the scenes and that, like, who is this bloke? You know what I mean? We talk about KLD, didn't say anything. This fucking bloke no one says anything. Speakman does a bit, and Speakman comes on and talks about transfers and direction of where we're doing with players, but he doesn't talk about anything else.
Do you think it's about time some of the Sunderland fans piped up and basically hit him in the ghoulies by just asking the question, what do you want from our club? What is your goal? What do you want? Do you want us to be in the Premier League? What are you here for? You know what I mean? What's your aim? Do you want us to be in the Prem? Do you want us to be a proper established Premier League club? Or are you just quite happy for us to be swimming around with the teams in the Championship? What's your goal? Because we don't know what you're here for. We don't know what your game model is. Nobody knows what's going on.
I mean, it's for me, like, yeah, the clarity on what our ownerships wants is very rare. We've never really had it. I think the last time I remember we had, like, this is what we want from the club, this is what we're doing with the area, was probably, I know it's not a massively popular person anymore, but Niall Quinn, like that Irish consortium era, like they wanted to basically
a Drumville consortium. Yeah, I mean, he loved the fans. You know, I mean, he was all about the fans, and that, and I think that was for him. He didn't want to upset the fans, and that's why he went down the direction. We need other investment to take over this, because he wanted the club to succeed, but he didn't want to be in charge of its downfall, if you know what I mean. So he did the right thing.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did the right thing, and he knew what he'd expect from us if he screwed it up. But it's having the mix of somebody who actually knows what they're doing, with somebody who's passionate about the club. Like, he was definitely passionate about the club, clear to us, but didn't direct us properly.
And that's a fucking very good point. Why not fucking get rid of this Davison bloke and ask Niall Quinn to come in and sit there?
Well, apparently he's already been sacked. I think this week.
What, Davison?
Yeah, it's rumours he's gone.
Good.
Oh, I didn't
Good
know
riddance. Bye bye.
Plenty of Geordie.
I mean,
he must have been.
Somebody needed to be sacked for that, though, didn't they? And it was the clear and obvious choice.
Without a doubt, mate, I'll never forget that. And he is the clear and obvious choice. But, like, for a replacement, someone like Niall Quinn, who understands the club, understands the people, or Kevin Ball, you know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck about if you've got a degree in fucking economics or you're a businessman. I don't give a flying fuck. I want someone who understands the club and understands the fans. Quinn, Ball, someone like that.
Are you surprised why Kevin Ball's never been given? So I don't know if has he got coaching badges?
Yes, I mean, he was with our club for 25, 30 years.
Are you not amazed at the fact, like, he's never sort of been considered? Because, I mean, the shite that we're being dealt up with over these last few years, managers wise or coaches wise, and you run about anybody who knows the fans and knows the club and gives a bit of passion. It's him, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you something about why and I think probably the main reason they don't employ people like that. Like, because when you go corporate, there's fucking ex-players all over the place. Lee Howie, Malone, Mickey Oswell, fucking Montgomery's there, fucking he's a stalwart there, you know what I mean? I think they want yes men. So KLD wants someone who's a yes man. Do you know what I mean? It wants someone who's sat next to him, who won't disagree, who won't upset the apple cart. Whereas someone who's emotionally invested into the club will probably go against the grain, if you know what I mean. So maybe that's one of the reasons. But like, for me, it's the link between the fans and the club. It's the big link, and I feel we've lost that. You know what I mean? I know we've got that red and white army. Is it the red and white army? It's sort of like the
fans group.
Yeah, they're a fans group. I don't know if they sit on board meetings or what. I mean, I don't really take much interest in them, and I don't know what they do. Maybe I should and understand what happens behind the scenes a bit more. But there is a disconnect, in my opinion.
Yeah, a couple of points from that though. Acacia, who's in the chat earlier on, she goes to those fan meetings all the time, and the questions are generally just like appeasing. So it'll be like platitudes to. The way I read into it, obviously everybody who's there is really passionate about the club. They'll ask a question, but the questions are pre-screened, they're pre-evaluated, and they'll get like the most fluff PC kind of responses out of them. I don't think they have any volition to change that needs to happen. So they're great having a fan group, but if you're not asking the right questions, the fan group is just a pointless PR exercise, in my humble opinion. Right. But also, you said about Kevin Ball and people who were yes men going out the grain. One of the first things that KLD did, 6 weeks later, Kevin Ball leaves the club.
He got made redundant under Donald, actually. Kevin Ball.
read into it a little bit more. I know, like, on the surface, it's that, but it's just very strange that all of a sudden he just goes when there's this transition happening. You don't do that. You don't, like, if he's a club legend, he knows that he's passionate about the club, and this new owner goes, I don't want people who are gonna basically challenge me week in, week out. Can you give me somebody who's going to be there? Then they get Mike Dodds. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Dodds is a complete yes man, but for the most part he is. He's good at his job. He gets the backing of the players, but so could Kevin Ball. So I don't know. I just think like KLD needs to just again mature up a little bit and just take the stick when he's earned it. When we're not performing as we want to, he needs to just go. Let me listen to what your actual questions are.
Look,
just put a thing here on my YouTube channel. So someone's because I put a post up before about like KLD, what's going on and that. And are you happy with the owner basically? And he's gone. Look at the previous owner's treatment over the last 30 to 40 years. They spent fortunes and brought great improvement, and they were ultimately hammered by supporters. It appears to be standard procedure for a lot of supporters. Is it time for some so-called supporters to look at their own behaviour towards the club? Lots of experience got us down into League One and kept us there for 4 long years. What do you reckon to that?
Oh, that's so out of touch, mate. That is so out of touch.
Mad, isn't it?
I'm not. You can't not question the owners. That you always have to question them because that apathy leads to fucking failure.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if we're fucking doing well. The questions need to be asked constantly about the club, and you always put pressure on them. You don't fucking give them an inch because it's our club and we want it to succeed. So leaving them alone is a fucking non-starter for me. You always question them. Yeah, we're doing okay at the minute, but I'm not bothered about that. I'm bothered about 5, 10 years down the line where we're going to be, and it talk to me a bit more. Tell me this fucking 5-year plan. Tell me what this fucking transfer, policy is. We're having to guess it here. We're guessing that you're just going for kids. Well, if you've got a master plan, or we're going to buy this player and that player, or we want to be here at this point, fucking tell the fans. Because like I said last week, KLD fucking said nothing. Davison said nothing. You know what I mean?
It's one Satori.
It's yeah. So always question the board.
I always think that in performance-based roles, in anyways, if it's a performance-based role, if football, darts, sales, literally anything that requires an improvement in numbers, an improvement in skill, an improvement in anything, you need to be questioned why you aren't improving. If you're stagnating, then you are on the way out, and then there needs to be succession planning. So we could have the best player for 10 years, but let's say Chris Rigg, Dale brings up Chris Rigg earlier on. Chris Rigg's 16. He has 10 quality years of just constant improvement, and then he's at his peak fitness for 3 years. We've had him for that entire time. How do we get to the next person who's the new Chris Rigg? How do we get to the new one? Because as soon as that person starts to dip, we all start to dip. So that's the whole nature of a performance-based thing. If our current squad is the best it's going to be in the next 10 years, why are we not going, well, actually, we're blaming Corey Evans for being unfit in terms of the maturity in the middle of the park, but Dan Neil stepped up, maybe a little too early for what I would consider as a natural curve for him, but he stepped up to it. Ekwaz had a really good couple of games, got injured, and then he's fell off a bit. It's relying on kids who need that. You brought it up earlier, Wesley. They need that experience to learn from. They're just thrown in there and learning on the cuff. Now, is that the new modern way? Is that the way someone want to go forward? Probably, because it's cheaper. But if it's purely about money, and again, sales, revenue, that's a performance thing. If it's purely about money for KLD, if he wants to put more money into it, the easiest way for to put more money into this club is to get us on telly more, or to get us promoted where we're on telly and we have a big commercial deal into it. So it is literally do the right things to get us promoted, if that's what his goal is. So
we will never know. He never fucking says anything.
There is those monthly meets with the Red and White Army, but again, other than what they say afterwards, there's no real like how the press conferences are with what on earth is happening with those press conferences and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel like any change happens after them. So what's the point of them?
Look, we're going to ride the season out now, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I'll take each game as it comes, like I always do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll as far as where the club's going, that has to be assessed in the summer, and we'll see. I don't think they want to be promoted. If I've got to be totally honest with you, I think they'll be happy. They'll be happy for another season in the Championship. That's what I think. And
I think the majority of the fans would be happy with being in the Championship for another season.
Look, things ready to go up, so maybe it is the right decision. But if I'd rather them just come out and say, "Look, we're not ready to go up. All right, we're not." They'll never do that. Like, you know what I mean? They'll say, "Oh yeah, we want to get promoted." I think they're happy for another season in the Championship, and I think if we went up anyway, we come straight back down. But again, if we went up and came down, there's parachute payments and all that stuff, so there's more money and more TV revenue. I get that, but their goal at the minute is to fucking tread water.
Yeah, keep it going. Jim says, to be fair, this time last year we were sick. We're currently sick, so I'll give the owners the benefit of the doubt. They could have sold Jack Clark in the summer, but they didn't. But for me, if it is ambitious to grow and to get better, you've just got to be humbled by that result against Newcastle. We would clearly struggle in the Premier League with this current squad. So we need better talent. It's as simple as that. Or better game management. I don't know, but results need to improve. I think realistically, though, we're starting tomorrow in 6th because Hull and Norwich, they've crumbled today. So we guaranteed to start tomorrow in playoffs. Hull finished 2-1. Norwich took a 2-goal lead, and then Hull got a goal back in the 91st minute. So that's us for that. But that means we start tomorrow at least in 6th. I don't know if it means we start the game in 6th, but we've got that little bit of cushion, that little bit of security. If we pick up a point or two, we're staying in that playoff marks. And if we stay in the playoffs, we could do what Nottingham Forest did, finish last in the playoffs and go up. Maybe we'll do what Luton do. But I think there's just such a gap at the moment.
Let's just take fucking each game, mate.
Yeah, okay.
Let's take each game. I don't want to start sounding like fucking Newcastle podcast where they go, "Oh, look, if you win the FA Cup, we can run in the Europa League and we can win that." Yeah, let's just fucking take Ipswich away this weekend.
Okay.
What are you expecting from the Ipswich game? Then are you expecting anything?
It depends. If we perform like we did when we first played them, maybe. But it's under different management and it's in a different run of form, and they're second now. Yeah, do you know what? Let's go with your predictions first, and then we'll work out what our general feeling is around that. So, Jacob, what's your prediction for the Ipswich game tomorrow?
I'm going with a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Westy?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Draw.
2-1, 1-1 draws. That's half telling already. Paul?
I'm going to say we're going to go down there and we're going to get a 2-1 victory.
Ooh, okay. Cabby?
Oh, this is the hard one, isn't it? I don't know. I can't really call it. I can't say anything else but an Ipswich win. Hope I'm wrong, but 3-0 Ipswich.
Okay, that's no confidence at all. I'm probably going to say a 1-0 win. That's it. Nothing spectacular. Not a cushy game. Quite a struggle. End to end. But I think it's just about who gets that one moment for me. They could definitely get it with. Well, to be fair, they're brutal in front of goal this season, aren't they?
I can remember we played them. We didn't play that bad, did we? Start of the season.
No, it was that weird deflection. We had 2 games in a row where they.
Oh, that was it. Aye, the fucking deflection was. I remember now. Broadhead.
Broadhead shot deflected in.
Yeah.
Dean's going for a 2-1 win as well. Lonsdale. Sorry, your name's going to be Lonsdale from now on, Davey. 2-0 loss with Fanekwa on goal. So...
he fucking hates Ekwa. He's not being fair on the lad. I think he's talented, David.
He is good.
And Acacia's going for a 2-2 draw. So there's a very mixed bag from what we're saying and just in this chat. Obviously, Ted comes in with his 6-0 Sunderland every single week. And one day you will be true.
Ask David this. Would he rather have Dylan McGee or fucking Ekwa?
Oh, remember him, Magook or some... I said Magook. Dylan Magook, but...
He never said, oh, there you go, McGee, what the heck, what?
Yeah. I mean, I remember Davey absolutely slating on Nyron Nosworthy as well. Because he was just like a hoofball specialist, but yeah.
Well, the thing with Davey is he'll find it, he'll pick someone and they go, right, I hate this fucker for the whole season.
Could he not pick him Dylan mate? That's mine. That's mine this season. Jesus.
And last season, I fucking couldn't stand down there. I honestly, I was like, oh, he can't. He doesn't know where he is. He can't hold the ball up. He's 30 seconds behind. To be fair, this season he's playing a lot better. So I'll take that back. He has improved.
I mean, yeah. So we've got plenty of variety coming up in this Ipswich game. If we boil it back down to what do we think Beale's got to do to get the win here? Because I don't trust. He's becoming a worse version of Mowbray in terms of game tactics for me. So, what does he actually need to do in the game to make sure we actually win it? I'll go with Cabby because he's tapped his screen there. What does Beale need to do tomorrow?
Well, of course, it depends on who's got available, hasn't he? What strikers he's got, what not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, put it this way, I think he needs to be a bit more sensible with his subs if the game plan ain't working. I thought it was a bit of a joke, not bringing any changes on for that amount of time. Playing Newcastle, like he froze or something. I just want to say if it isn't working, if things aren't looking good, then I want to see him make a change rather than just being stagnant and just keeping it the same and then I'll make some changes in the 84th minute.
Yeah. Just keep we're only one behind. Let's keep the game plan going. Yeah. Andy says no fucking around at the edge of the box would be a good start. And Dale says what I'm kind of thinking: Meander and the tank man up front. I think put 2 up front, change the tactics. Why not? We've just come off a hefty defeat. In the league, we're doing okay, but get Clark to actually feed the ball into the box, into those strikers. I think now that Rushan's got his goal. Davey, starting 11 that doesn't include Ekwa. Fair enough. I get it. Paul, what are you saying? What's Bill going to do?
It's interesting for me, though, because Ipswich are actually missing a canny few players for this game. George Hurst, I think, is he's injured. One of their main strikers.
We'll buy him.
He's out, and they've got a player suspended for actually this game as well. So. I don't know really, but I was watching a press conference he done yesterday.
Who Beale?
Beale said he actually knows Kieran McKenna. So it will be interesting actually what team he does put out against Ipswich.
Very, very quickly before I move on to Westy, on that press conference, it really. He said something about the Newcastle game having scouts. that to me was kind of concerning. I know there's scouts at every single game, but like that was a key focus of his press conference. It doesn't fill me confidence.
There, after the game.
Mm-hmm. Westy, what you say, mate? What does Bill need to do?
Be his own man, I guess. I think he's still kicking the Mowbray tactics down the road, but when you watch now, it's not. He likes to sit. He likes a bit of the passing game, possession game. You can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Mowbray was fucking balls out for 90 minutes, which we loved. You know what I mean? We loved it. It was entertaining. I think Bale's a bit more concerned. Like, we'll get the lead and he'll sit on that lead. The Mags game, we sat. It was an own goal, but he was waiting for an opportunity. So I think that's with the way the game's going to go with this. I think he's probably not going to underestimate Ipswich. They're a good fucking team.
That's a really good point.
But again, if you look, I think we'll see the same 11 here, thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are limited. We're desperately in the need of replacement of Patrick Roberts because Jack is just going to be fucking isolated again. Pritch, although I love Pritch, but he can't last 90. He was fucking ball bagged against the Mags. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You could see that. I love him, but I wish we had him like fucking 5-6 years ago when he was fucking really good. So.
Do you reckon it's Abdullah Bar or French Dave to replace Roberts for the interim?
But you look at the bench, man. I'm like, I'm not inspired.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's Burns. It's Burns, and I think it'll be tight game management, and that's why a draw or another 1-1 or something like, or a tight 1-0. I think is the way it's going to go.
Yeah. Okay, so. Do you know when you said there it's the weight game, it's the Bale way of playing rather than just heart on the sleeve kind of thing? It reminds me a lot of how Chelsea actually won the Premier League. It was 1-0s, 2-0s, and just absolutely just sit back on the ball. And
but didn't he have like fucking Makaleli in that?
Oh yeah. He has people who actually put the ball in the back of the net,
right.
and Anelka and what have you. And it's just. I think that's what he's trying to instill, like that discipline, which I think again might give more experience to our squad. So I'm going to give it a little bit more time before I completely do the.
He's inherited that team, so you can only piss with the cock you got. So we're not going to get unless something miraculous happens over the transfer window. I think we're just going to see more of the same.
Yeah. Well, it depends who we get in. I think, like you said, Roberts needs replacing, so there's a right winger that we need. Jim says if we score first, we have a 100% win rate under Beale. So there's a nice start, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good start. I like that start.
So being a bit cautious is better than gung ho. And obviously the Coventry game is just one of the worst performances I've seen in a very, very long time. So as long as we don't play like that,
it's fucking grim.
Yeah. Dale brings up a good point because you said he was a bit isolated. What about Bellingham on the wing?
He needs a rest. I don't know what the rest of the lads think.
I
think he needs a rest.
He is overused.
I think Bellingham's just gone missing from far too many games. You don't even know he's on the pitch. He needs to rest his head and his body. I think he's just a waste of space on that pitch at the minute.
Well, I said on the last watch along, it was like he's been really good in about 5-6 games, which is about 25% of the games so far this season. I'd much rather rest him a game and then him been on fire for 2 of those games. That's 66% of games rather than 1 and 4.
He's 18, man. He's fucking 18. He's a bad.
He needs to be swapped around though. But
madman.
Yeah. Finally, Jacob, what does Bill need to do?
I really do not know, to be fair. Just don't be shit, that's all. Just actually put a team. I can still put a similar team to Preston, and not all I've got to say, really. We can't think about else.
Fair enough. You're not paid to either, though. Just put the ball in the back of the net.
Who's getting paid? Smudge.
Beale's getting paid apparently. I think. You better, like you said, performance. You got to put them in. I think what we got. So the issue we have with this, right? We're about to wrap up. Obviously, we've got the Ipswich game tomorrow, but next week we've got the Hull game on the Friday evening. So this show will have to bump a day. I'll move that to the Saturday, and we'll do the watch along for the Hull game on Friday evening. So if you want to join in for that, by all means, pop in. But we've done the Ipswich predictions. I know it's a game away, and we could have injuries. We could have a completely different starting 11, and we're signed at the the world's best man for 2 pence. What are we saying for a quick prediction against the Hull game, and then we'll enjoy the rest of our evenings. So go back to front this time, Cabby.
For the whole game, did you say?
For the Hull game.
At the Stadium of Light. I wasn't impressed with Hull. To be quite honest this year, so I'll go for 2-0 Sunderland.
I like that you flipped it around. You went from 3-0 to 2-0. Okay, that's a very Sunderland thing to do. I'm going to go for a. I think we're going to match what they did tonight and beat them 2-1. They kind of struggle away from home. They're not they're not too bad, but they're there for the taking if we really, really want to. Acacia agrees with me. Paul?
Well, you did 3-1 Sunderland.
A 2-1 win and a 3-1 win for you. I like that. Very confident, man. 6 points out of 6. I like it.
I'll take it.
Westy, what are you going for, mate?
A fucking dross 0-0.
1-1 0-0. You've got the confidence everybody aspires to have. Jacob, mate, go for it.
2-1 Sunderland.
4 points out of the next 2 games, I think, is a happy goal for everybody to have. So fair enough. I've got a mate who's a Hull supporter, and he says they're 7th. If they're 7th and crap, we're probably Hull 3-0.
We're very similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just...
We're too roller coastery for our own goods, both of these teams.
Two positives, mate, and negatives, mate.
Oh, so it's going to be 0-0 and like 5 red cards. All right, everybody. Catch you on the watch along tomorrow. Thank you for being here, legends. And
all right.
Catch you in a bit. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Hello.
Hey, that's rude.